Welcome y'all, this is Annie, and I'm sorry I was not able to get this video out before the pre-order started, but my husband and I have been celebrating our 8-year anniversary for our wedding and 10 years from the day of our first date. Yeah, they're the same day. I know, super romantic, right? But my priority's really been spending quality time, which has been so nice, and not really even working so much on my list yet, so I've got to get cracking on it. I did start working on this video Wednesday night as soon as the list was posted, but I just haven't had enough time to finish it. And there were some new scents from the recent RTS that were limited items. I wanted to go ahead and melt the last few days and put some thoughts up on at least the scent impression. A lot of these are really freshly poured. As you can see, this was poured August 9th, and so that's barely been a month. And so really a lot of this I can't give you impressions on how long lasting it is or how strong the throw is, but I can give you thoughts on scent. And I also can tell you that all of these at most are maybe 6 weeks since poured, and 3 of them it's barely been a month and a day. So this should be proof that you can smell stuff if you have enough warmers going and if you've really figured out your warmer setup, because I was able to smell all of these without putting my face over the warmer. So you really don't need to cure your teddy bees for a year. This has been cured a month, and this was going very strong in my bedroom for over 10 hours, and it really could have continued going overnight, but I wanted to pop in some mint for the evening. So just bottom line, you've got to test stuff in your own house and your warmer setup and play around with it until you find the right kind of combination, because there's just so many variables. It's subjective. Our own even perceptions of what throw is, and so just figure that out for yourself. I know there's been a lot of talk lately about how long you need to cure it, and really you're the only one who can decide that. I just hate that this year cure myth is really discouraging people from being able to purchase teddy bees, because no one wants to start buying from a new vendor with that kind of information being told them beforehand. So this is something that was poured a month ago, and it was lasting very well in my bedroom. The door was open. We had a fan going on in there the entire time. The AC pumping. It's hot here in Texas, and the doors were open, like I said. So also, before kind of getting into these, you should know a lot of the rest of our house is open concept, except for the bathroom. So that sometimes makes getting a decent throw difficult, especially since we have really tall ceilings. I think we have 12-foot ceilings or something like that. So combine that with all the fans we've going and some other airflow issues we've got. I'm really impressed with how well all of these scents performed. So let's get into the actual scents. This first one is ShadowLands, which is, of course, a reference to the ShadowLands in Game of Thrones. And then if you've been a fan of Tiffany's wax before, you know she has a lot of Game of Thrones references and names, which I love. The scent notes are earthy notes of dried pampas grass, powdery tonka bean, soft musk with hints of white currant. And again, sorry for the setup. I cannot figure out where my tripod is right now, so sorry for the shaking. Okay, what I got from this was kind of a sweet, perfumey scent. I really get that powdery tonka bean and the musk, and really reminds me quite a lot of warm vanilla sugar, frankly. I'd be surprised if that wasn't in this blend because of how much it smells like that. And then underneath there was an earthy note. I didn't really get much pampas grass, and it came in a little bit more towards the end once it had been melting for about 8 hours. But before that, I mainly just got a little bit of a dry, earthy note kind of in the background of the scent. That could change as this sits more, kind of ages, just kind of like wine. The more it ages, the more some of the scent notes are gonna meld together. And I think that might be the case with this. The other thing I really got was the currant, and it was really nice. It wasn't nearly as tart as a cranberry, but sort of similar along that line of tartar berry leaning scent. I already had this on my list to get a tub, but was kind of debating on whether to downgrade it to a souffle until I'd at least melted this. But I think I'm going to keep this at a tub, and then as this cures before the RTS, I'll probably re-melt this and see how the scent has changed over the next few months. But so far, I really like this. It's not strong on the pampas grass, and I think those of you who like the kind of perfumey type scents or earthy scents might like this a lot. Next up, this has had a lot of talk, and this is BakeryinLys. It's brown sugar, caramel, powdered sugar, bakery dough, sugared musk, bottom notes of sweet woods. Again, poured August 9th, so not cured for very long. I only cut off a little bit and I put it in the crock that I use in my bathroom. And so that one didn't have like a direct fan going in the room, and it's a smaller room and the door's closed most of the time. So I have the least idea on overall throw and performance for this one, but I could smell it as soon as I walked in. I could smell it just a tiny bit out into the hallway, even with the door closed. And that's saying a lot for a scent that was only poured a month ago. The main things I get from this are the brown sugar and caramel. It's not a heavy bakery, it's more sweet leaning. And then there is a woodsy note in there that I cannot think of what it is in my life that smells like this. It is not cedar, it's not an evergreen type tree, it's not birch. The closest I can come to is comparing it to a dry, woodsy note, and not like out in the woods dry. I'm talking like planks of lumber that have been cut and dried out. It reminds me of going into my grandfather's carpentry workshop and smelling the dry sawdust in the air and on the ground. It's not the most prominent note, but it's there, and I actually kind of like this. I'm still wanting to see where it lands once it's cured more, so I'm going to do the same as with the ShadowLands, probably get another tub and melt it again before the RTS to see if I need more of it or not. Now, this next one I did in our main spaces, the kitchen, into the dining room, and so you can see I used a decent amount. I pulled out a few extra tea lights for that area. So between warmers and tea lights, I had 13 going in all between the whole living area, the dining room, and the kitchen. And then I also had my crock, like I always do, going in the kitchen with a little bit of this. And this performed really well. I do think about hour 7, it had started to fade, and I anticipate with more cure that this will be a better performer, both in throw and in longevity. But I really didn't struggle smelling it in the room the entire time I was in there, and it was quite nice. I originally had this down to just get a tub, and I've decided to change that to a loaf just based off of my enjoyment of the scent, and also because I've already melted so much of this tub. So this is BlueberryDumpCake, and it's fresh blueberries, crispy cake topping, hints of warm spice, and vanilla. Tiffany is really good at blueberry scents. I think a lot of her blueberry scents, unless it specifically says blueberry sugar, which I'm actually not a fan of. That is not the blueberry in here, by the way, but her Other blueberry scents often remind me of a blueberry muffin, kind of like that Jiffy blueberry mix. If you were just to smell the blueberries that are in the little can that you kind of open up and put into the muffin mix, it reminds me of those blueberries. And then the crispy cake part, I wasn't really sure if that was going to remind me of like a crumble topping or not, but it kind of is reminiscent of like white cake to me. It's not quite as heavy as yellow cake to my nose, and I really didn't get any spice until it had been melting for several hours, so very, very, very light. I would not let that discourage you. It's mainly a blueberry and cake scent. I really enjoyed it, but I like bakery scents, and I really like blueberry bakery as well. So if that's not for you, you might not like this one. Personally, I'm excited to get a loaf. All right. This one I popped into the bathroom later on in the day just because I wanted to get a chance to melt it. And this is Browned Butter and Pralines. I had a scent shot from my pre-order. It was included, and this is also, again, an RTS limited item. This is not at all like the scent notes that I expected. There is a fruity note that is really throwing me, and I don't know what it is exactly. I had to go and see what other people's thoughts for this scent were in the Facebook group, and it looks like Desi may have hit it on the head. She talks about it reminding her of an old Bath and Body Works scent called Golden Pear and Brown Sugar or something like that. I can't remember the name of it. And I don't know if it smells exactly like that, because that's a scent I never tried from Bath and Body Works, but there is definitely kind of a poached pear quality to this, and a sweetness. I really thought I'd get browned butter. I don't pick up on that at all. It's more like brown sugar and the pear slash slightly perfumey, fruity quality to it. I was originally going to get a tub in this, but because I feel so uncertain about this scent right now, I think I'm going to just get a souffle, and if I change my mind for the RTS, I'll get another souffle. And then I popped this into the bathroom about 2.5 hours ago. Smoked Gingersnaps. And wow, this is a beast. As far as I know, this is poured maybe 6 weeks ago. If it lines up with the scent note, the pour dates for ones that were poured for the RTS. And this has been in the bathroom in the crock, and it has been billowing out of the bathroom. Even though the door's been closed, it's been going down the hallway into the other rooms in the house, just off of this little scent shot in a closed door room. So if you want a really strong scent, this is definitely one of them. I was not sure if I was going to like this scent, because sometimes gingerbread scents, ginger snap, or heavily spiced scents, or not something that I gravitate too often. A lot of times the spices are either too bitter or have a burnt smell, and the smoked part, I wasn't sure of how much of that was going to come out on warm, but this is really nice. I can see this being great to blend with other bakery, blending with some coffee, blending with even some different tree. I could see this being actually really nice with Christmas trees and cream. It smells so much like the holidays, and it's not a bakery spice. This is very cardamom and nutmeg forward. And I know nutmeg is not listed in the scent notes, but I pick up on it very strongly with the cardamom. I'm not a big spice fan, like I was just saying, and some people might consider this spicy. but it's not spicy in the sense that I usually consider spice senses spicy. It doesn't have that red hot cinnamon or cinnamon broom in it, and it just really feels like a holiday spice section, if that makes sense. It's still, I can smell it from the bathroom. I'm sitting in the living room right now, and I can still smell it in here. So I think next time I will only put it in a few warmers if I'm melting in a certain area of the house, so I don't like overpower myself with it. But I'm on the fence now whether to get a tub or a loaf, because melting this little simple shot has converted me on this scent. I forgot to note the smoked part is there. It's very light in the background, which it could change as it warms. As it cures more, but this is not a overwhelming smoky scent to me. It reminds me a little bit of having a fire in the fireplace, maybe in an adjacent room. You just get a tiny hint of it, and it's almost not there. Again, could change as it cures though. I'm going to go ahead and end this really quickly here so I can pop this up, and I will try to get my other video finished, but I'm not really sure if I'll be able to get it up tonight. I know that the pre-order is going to close tomorrow. If you were wanting to order, hopefully you've already gotten your order in, and if you were on the fence on any of these scents, whether you already got them or whether you were debating, I hope this information helps or can help you when you're making your list for the RTS down the road. And thank you all for watching. Let me know if you'll have any questions. I'm really excited to get my order and see everything everyone else has received. And yeah, let me know if y'all have melted any of these too. I'm curious to see if other people have similar impressions of these scents.